After the coronation of Pandu as king, Bheeshma's thoughts turned towards the future stability of Hastinapura. The past events had instilled a fear in his mind. The situation faced when Vichitravirya died without an heir had left a lasting impression on him. To soothe Dhritarashtra and to divert his growing enmity towards Pandu and Vijura, Bheeshma decided that a marriage would be the best course of action for him. Bheeshma, believing that Dhritarashtra's wounded pride from not securing the throne could find solace in a marriage, called upon Vijura to discuss this intention. Vijura, agreeing with Bheeshma's decision, suggested the name of Gandhari, the daughter of King Subala of Gandhara kingdom, who possessed the boon to have 101 children. This proposal not only provided a strategic advantage, but also alleviated Bheeshma's concerns about the continuity of the royal lineage. Dhritarashtra, publicly humiliated for his blindness being cited as a disqualification for rulership, seethed in deep sorrow and anger within his chambers, replaying the coronation scene repeatedly in his mind. Despite his numerous qualifications and capabilities, he felt that injustice had ultimately prevailed. Every time he thought about the suppression he faced, it felt like a sharp blade piercing his heart. Vijura's cutting words echoed in his ears, and his heart ached not just from losing the throne, but from the betrayal by those closest to him. His inner world was a tumult of rage, grief, and despair. His mother, Ambika, entered the room and, seeing her son in such a distressed state, felt a profound sadness in her heart. She approached him gently and conveyed the marriage proposal from Bheeshma. But Dhritarashtra, already engulfed in sorrow, immediately rejected the proposal. Ambika sat with Dhritarashtra and explained that the young Princess Gandhari possessed a boon to have 101 children. Hearing this, a glimmer of hope sparked in Dhritarashtra's heart. The thought that if he were to have 101 offspring, his lineage would outnumber and dominate Pandu's children in the future generation, securing dominance and potentially reclaiming the throne, took root in his mind. With this realization, Dhritarashtra perceived the marriage as a strategic move to ensure and fortify his lineage's future. With newfound resolve and strategic foresight, he accepted the marriage proposal, seeing it as a path to secure a favorable and strong future for himself and his descendants. After Dhritarashtra's reluctant acceptance of the marriage proposal, Bheeshma, ever the stalwart guardian of Hastinapura's interests, decided to personally journey to the kingdom of Gandhara. He believed that this delicate matter required his direct involvement rather than a mere message, especially considering the sensitive nature of Dhritarashtra's blindness. Bheeshma understood that a proposal of this magnitude, involving the marriage of a princess to a blind prince, necessitated a clear and compassionate explanation to King Subala and Queen Sudharma. Gandhari received the news from her handmaiden that the venerable Bheeshma was arriving to discuss a marriage proposal. Upon hearing this, Gandhari's heart swelled with joy and anticipation. She began to dream about her future husband, envisioning a life filled with grandeur and love. Although she knew that Hastinapura was a kingdom of great repute and splendor, she was unaware of the specific details about its royal family or its customs. Nonetheless, her imagination took flight, and she pictured the prince of Hastinapura, as the embodiment of her dreams. In her mind's eye, he was a paragon of virtue, strength, and nobility, an ideal match for her own steadfast spirit and aspirations. Gandhari's thoughts were consumed with the possibilities of her new life. She envisioned a prince who would be not only a stalwart leader, but also a compassionate partner. The prospect of joining such a revered kingdom filled her with a sense of purpose and excitement, and she eagerly awaited Bheeshma's arrival, hoping that her dreams would soon become a reality. Bheeshma, upon reaching the gates of Gandhara, was received with great honor, as befitting his legendary status and the importance of his mission. In the guest chambers of Gandhara, King Subala and his wife Sudharma respected him warmly, and customary courtesies were exchanged. Bheeshma was invited to speak of the purpose of his visit. As they already know that this was a marriage proposal, Bheeshma began to speak of the virtues of Vichitravirya's eldest son, Dhritarashtra, extolling his unparalleled strength, unwavering dedication to Dharma, and his extraordinary ability to shoot arrows guided by sound alone. Gandhari listened intently, her heart swelling with joy as she envisioned Dhritarashtra as her future husband. Just as her dreams began to take shape, Bheeshma, with a heavy heart, revealed the unfortunate truth that Dhritarashtra was blind. A sudden wave of sadness washed over King Subala and Queen Sudharma. From behind, a voice rang out in anger. Shakuni, Subala's son, furious at the perceived deception, he accused Bheeshma of highlighting Dhritarashtra's noble qualities only to reveal his blindness as an afterthought. Bheeshma, who had anticipated such a reaction, stood silent, his expression serene yet solemn. King Subala, recognizing the necessity of decorum, swiftly stopped Shakuni and sent him away, restoring a tense calm to the room. Shakuni entered Gandhari's chamber and was shocked. He found Gandhari's eyes were blindfolded. Stunned, Shakuni asked what this was about. Gandhari explained that she had already envisioned Dhritarashtra as her husband, and now she couldn't imagine another. Since he was blind, she didn't want anyone to say that she had something her husband didn't have. She didn't want anyone to see her husband as unequal or inferior to her. So, she decided to live without her sight, making herself equal to her husband. Shakuni was deeply saddened and pleaded with his sister to reconsider her sacrifice. But she firmly said that her decision was already made. Shakuni was filled with sorrow, and at the same time he hated this marriage proposal by Bheeshma and saw him as the one responsible for his sister's sacrifice. As the reality of Gandhari's decision to blindfold herself sank in, her 10 younger sisters were overcome with sorrow. Tears streamed down their faces as they imagined the life ahead for their beloved sister, now shrouded in perpetual darkness. Gandhari had been more than a sister to them. She was a nurturing figure, almost like a mother. From their earliest days, she had guided and cared for them, and they loved her with all their hearts. Seeing their beloved sister willingly embrace such a sacrifice, the younger sisters felt an unbearable weight on their hearts. They couldn't imagine leaving Gandhari to face this new life alone. The thought of her navigating the world without sight, struggling to complete even the simplest tasks, filled them with anguish. They wanted to be by her side, to assist her in every possible way, and to ensure that she never felt alone or helpless. Bheeshma and Subala, moved by the scene of the sisters' tearful pleas, tried to convince Gandhari to reconsider her decision. They argued that she could still be a dutiful wife without blinding herself, that her love and dedication did not need such a drastic expression. But Gandhari, steadfast in her resolve, gently but firmly refused to change her mind. Seeing that Gandhari would not be swayed, her sisters tearfully begged their father, King Subala, to allow them to accompany her. They could not bear the thought of leaving their sister in such a condition. They felt a deep need to support her, to live with her, and to ensure she was never left alone in her darkness. Subala, overwhelmed by his daughter's love and devotion, made a heart-wrenching decision. With a heavy heart, he resolved to marry all his 11 daughters to Dhritarashtra. He knew this was an unusual choice, but it was born out of a father's desire to protect and preserve the unity and happiness of his daughters. When Subala shared his decision with Bheeshma, he was initially shocked. The idea of marrying all the daughters to one man, especially under these circumstances, was unexpected. But as Subala explained his reasoning, Bheeshma began to understand the deep love and protective instinct that drove Subala's decision. It wasn't merely a matter of convenience or politics. It was a decision rooted in the profound bonds of family and the desire to ensure that no sister would be left behind. Ultimately, Bheeshma respected Subala's decision, recognizing the noble intentions behind it. Thus, with both sorrow and acceptance, the decision was made, binding not just Gandhari, but all her sisters to Dhritarashtra, ensuring that they would face the future together, united in their love and devotion. Shakuni, overwhelmed with sorrow, felt a deeper pain than anyone else in his family as he watched his sisters' dreams shatter in a single day. They had all imagined a future filled with happiness and love, only to see it destroyed by Bheeshma's actions. The sight of his beloved sisters, especially Gandhari, sacrificing their dreams and blinding themselves to stand by their sister, filled him with a grief that quickly twisted into a desire for revenge. Shakuni realized that killing Bheeshma would be impossible. Instead, he vowed to make Bheeshma feel the same anguish his family was enduring. He resolved to strike at what Bheeshma cherished most, Hastinapura and its dynasty. Shakuni's sorrow transformed into a cold, calculating resolve to bring down the kingdom that Bheeshma had devoted his life to protecting, ensuring that Bheeshma would suffer the same deep pain that now consumed his family. With a heavy heart and a mind set on revenge, personally escorted his 11 sisters to Hastinapura for the marriage. The wedding of Dhritarashtra to Gandhari and her 10 sisters was conducted with great splendor. King Subala and Queen Sudharma watched the grand event with mixed emotions, torn between the joy of seeing their daughters wed and the sorrow of the circumstances. Bheeshma, Satyavati, Ambika, Ambalika, Pandu, and Vijura all witnessed the ceremony with immense happiness, believing they were securing a strong future for the kingdom. Meanwhile, Shakuni stood silently, his heart burning with a singular thought of revenge as he watched the union that would forever change the fate of Hastinapura.